Good morning. Mate, I've got out of a warm bed to come down and welcome the Insiders panellists this morning.
Got out of warm Canberra to be here.
Mate, it was -1 in Canberra this morning. It was 6 degrees here. It was 4 degrees yesterday, so it's improved slightly.
Have you been to the States recently?
We came back in January of 2020.
Yeah.
And we just missed the commencement of the pandemic.
When are you going back?
Well, I hope Christmas, but it depends on availability of flights and whatnot.
Been vaccinated yet?
I had my first shot a month ago, and the second one's due in July. What about you?
Well, I'm very positive about vaccination. I think everyone needs to get vaccination.
But you haven't had one yet?
Well, I'm waiting.
Okay.
So I'm very keen on vaccination.
My mother is in an aged care facility in Florida, and she had Pfizer in December and the second one in January. And she's been essentially in lockdown in the aged care facility for, approaching 18 months now. So the experience in the US has been dreadful, obviously. But Victoria is the worst of the Australian states, and I've lived through all the lockdowns down here.
In what sense? What vaccination? They're pretty good on vaccination, aren't they?
In the states.
Oh, sorry. I thought you were talking Victoria.
No, the death toll from COVID is the worst in Australia, in Victoria.
Oh yeah, it's 800 and something of the 910.
That's correct. The majority of them occurred as a result of the quarantine fiasco.
Yeah.
And I see where currently the authorities are going around to cafes and restaurants and other public places and fining operators if they haven't got the right protocols in place. But unfortunately, it appears that none of the bureaucrats and politicians who were overseeing the hotel quarantine in Victoria have suffered any ill effects at all, except the former health minister, I believe, who resigned. But there have been no fines or prosecutions for any of those people, but they're going after the restaurateurs and cafe owners. Do you think that's a little bit of a double standard?
Well, if the facts are as you present them, that sounds like a bit of a double standard. I think it's. I think the big problem at the moment is complacency.
Yes.
And it reminds me about the GFC when, we missed the bus, and everyone's saying, "Well, what bus?" And here we've missed the worst of it, and we're so quickly. Maybe it's just the fact we're all so optimistic. We've missed the worst of it. We then think, "Oh no, it's all right."
Mate, I remember the GFC, and I remember Kevin Rudd came in as Prime Minister around that period, and I was very impressed with the economic stimulation that they put in. They did it too long and too hard, I believe, but one of the good things was that China was still buying our stuff in those days, and now they're not. Now, speaking of...
Well, the Chinese are still buying our stuff.
Well, iron ore.
Pretty high price as well.
Iron ore.
Coal.
Look, do you accept the common wisdom that the COVID pandemic probably emerged from the Wuhan region of China?
Well, the experts are saying that on the balance of probabilities it didn't. So
it didn't?
Yeah. So
where do they think it emerged?
Oh, God knows, you tell me. I'm no expert in this.
Okay, so you've heard accepted commentary that it emerged from somewhere other than Wuhan.
I've been reading like you have everything that you can. I've read all the Shari Markson's stuff, and I've read was the piece in the Nine that seemed to have people who doubted that was the case. So I mean.
Well, look, my recollection of the chain of events was that the speculation was immediate that it had emerged from Wuhan.
You're right, there was, and there was a piece actually in the Nature magazine from 2017 that talked about how the West was concerned that China was setting up a biosecurity lab 4 or something. It's the standard
in Wuhan,
and that they were worried that whatever was being done, they were worried about escapee
right.
virus. So I mean, the concern's been there even before the pandemic, but you know,
it remains possible anyway.
It remains possible, of course.
And I have been observing the quoted figures on Worldometers, I think it's called, and China says that they've had a total of 4,634 COVID deaths. The US has had just over 600,000. Australia's had 910. Our death toll apparently is 35 per million head of population in Australia. China's is 3 per head of population. I'm a bit dubious about the reliability of the Chinese figures. Do you share my concerns, or?
Well, I mean, if they are accurate, I'm a bit doubtful too. But then again, they use some pretty brutal tactics to keep it under control, like welding people into their.
Anyway, I read those. Mate, good on you. Have a good day. Bye. Bill Thompson for Outside Insiders. I'm grateful that Andrew was prepared to have a chat with me. The panellists and political guests, maybe I get the shits when I'm around, and there's no obligation on anyone to chat, but I'm grateful for the opportunity to have a word.